तमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक्प्राणश्चक्षुश्रोत्रमथो बलमिन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि। सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत्। अनिराकरणमस्त्वनिराकरणं मे अस्तु। तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। The resolution, the unconscious mind, as we saw in the last class, in the last session, we saw that the unconscious mind, if it is not resolved, is a deterrent to gaining this knowledge and understanding the oneness with Bhagavan Ishvara. We make the mistake of seeing Ishvara as an authority figure because of this very alienation of the helpless child, seeing first its primary caregivers in an exaggerated light, thinking of the caregiver as what? Ishvara, and then that is a setup to be taken down. And then the takedown happens, and then since the child cannot imagine that its Ishvara-esque caregivers would actually be fallible, it takes on the fallibility all onto itself and feels alienated from the whole. I am the problem, there is something wrong with me. And this, in a way, even the feeling that one is wrong and something is wrong with oneself, even that is covered by the merciful unconscious mind. This is a great gift by Maya Shakti. It is a personal avarana. It's a personal avarana so that the child can forget the pain and grow up, especially when it doesn't have the wherewithal to resolve that pain. This is very important to know. And after the child grows into an adult, the inner child, which is still a truncated bunch of needs, wants, which are frozen in the sense of unmeetable needs and wants, what should I say, runs the show. Uses the body of the adult, the mind of the adult, to rehearse its own pain, not reverse, rehearse, keep on rehearsing. So certain conditions make one angry. Why? We have to think about this. It's not the adult that is angry. The adult is naturally an objective person here. No need to be angry with somebody one hardly knows, but anger has come. Why? Because the person that one hardly knows reminds one of somebody that one knows all too well. The memory is triggered. So in other words, there are triggers left, right and center for the adult. And in this way, what happens is that without self-knowledge, the regular ambitions that one may have, whatever goals one has so many goals. I'd like to make something of myself. I am good at such and such a thing, and then I would like to go with that. I would like to do this, I would like to do that, I would like to draw, I would like to paint, I would like to sing, I would like to help people. I wish to become a doctor so that I can help people. All these ambitions are all also thwarted. They are also thwarted because one is not able to get over that inner child, because the inner child comes in the way of the ambition. Either one feels I'm not good enough, or there is hopelessness, there is fear, there is all kinds of things. So even if the worldly goals are impeded, even if the worldly goals are inhibited because of this, what to talk of spiritual goals? Carrying the unconscious, one cannot understand the oneness with Ishvara. The oneness with Ishvara is not a manufactured oneness. It is a oneness that is there, that has to be recognized, whose recognition is imminent. Why? Because just like the river flows to the ocean, from babyhood, one is flowing with Ishvara, flowing as Ishvara. This we saw at the conclusion of the last class, going with the flow. When we say that flow is what? Ishvara. Ishvara is that flow. So going with the flow, one becomes non-separate from the flow. That is the Jnani. So whether one likes it or not, one is helplessly attracted to the source. Not just a sentient being like a person, but even the planets. All the planets are helplessly attracted to their source. What is their source? The sun. Keeping on in orbit. Were it not for the gravitational force, they would all have committed suicide in the sun. They would have all gone and crashed into the sun. Everything is attracted to the source, and the love of the source is the love of the self. Why? That Satchidanandam Brahma, which I see as the source, is not separate from me. The love of the source is the love of the self, and the source is always elusive if I'm looking for it on an altar, in a church, in a mosque, wherever it might be, and forgetting to look where it exists. Where? Me. Forgetting to look, see that the source is me. And therefore, this unconscious has to be resolved. The question is how. Therefore, in the Puranas, the story is told. The story of the churning of the ocean. Churning of the ocean, and it is an allegory to what we are talking about, because it's all there. The Vedanta talks about the unconscious in many different places. Start even with the Mandukya Upanishad. We have this. I told you the word Kashaya. Please know that the mind is with the unconscious. Sakashayam vijaniyat samapraptva na vichalayet. So don't try to analyze it to death. When you are confronted with the unconscious mind and the inner child, resolve it. Don't keep on saying, why did this happen to me? Oh, why me? That is what? Rehearsing the unconscious, not reversing it. This is the advice given by Gaudapada Acharya. So that is Shruti. In the Bhagavad Gita, a lot of emphasis is given on Raga Dvesha management. And until the Raga Dveshas are managed, this knowledge of oneness with Ishvara will not come. And then, what is Raga Dvesha? A manifestation of the unconscious mind. That is what it is. A manifestation of the inner child. And then, so that is Smriti. And in the Puranas also, we have this story to illustrate the need for resolving the unconscious mind. And so, this is how the story goes. Suddenly, in a rare moment of cooperation, the Devas and the Asuras decided to say, let us cooperate, let's come together. Devas are who? Goodies, goody people, okay? And then Asuras are who? Baddies, simple. So they don't even talk to one another. They don't even look at one another. And suddenly they were very intrigued to see what is in the bottom of this huge ocean. Somebody said, at the bottom of the ocean lies some very precious thing. Devas naturally wanted it. They said, we are entitled to it because we are dharmic. We have spent all our time in doing good things. Asuras said, what do you mean? We are not only entitled to it, we'll get it by force. Then they realized, the Devas realized, that we can't do this alone. What is at the bottom of the ocean? A gem called Amritam, the nectar of immortality, is at the bottom of the ocean. You see this allegory already playing out so beautifully. Where is it? At the bottom of the ocean. And then Devas realized, okay, we need help. Come on, fellows, what do you say? Let's do it together. Asuras say, okay, 50-50. 50, what? Immortality for you, and then 50% of the ocean for you and your people. Not ocean, what am I saying? The nectar. And 50% for whom? For us. And so saying, they said, okay, we need to churn the ocean. We have to churn the ocean in order to get the prize, the nectar of immortality, which is at the bottom. We have to churn it. Huge ocean. And the churning rod you have at home for the ocean is like a toothpick. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So what to do? You look around. What is there? Mountain. Okay. Pluck off the mountain, make that a churning rod, so that will go deep as it is wide, as it is deep, the mountain, and then the mountain becomes what? Churning rod. But you also need a churning rope, not just a rod. Look around again. A hissing sound comes. What is that? Vasuki is the name of the hisser, a huge python, and a very poisonous one at that. In fact, if it breathes, you faint. It's that poisonous a python. Poor Vasuki is plucked off the tree where he was hanging, and then wrapped 2.5 times around the, not mountain, churning rod. Yes. Go with the story, all. Okay. So, around the churning rod, the rope, which is here, see, usually we say the rope is mistaken for the snake. That is the bread and butter of Vedanta. What's happening here? Snake is being used as rope. Okay. Only one instance. So, this rope, which is what? The snake wound 2.5 times around the churning rod, which is the mountain. And then what? Then who wants to be? So now one side is the head of the snake, another side is the tail. Who wants to be at the head of the snake? Nobody. And this is exactly the Devas tricked the Asuras. The Devas said, I bet these Asuras are not brave enough and courageous enough to take the snake by the face. They said, no, we are courageous, we are brave, we'll go. And that's how they ended up with the mouth of the snake, and the Devas ended up where? Holding the tail of that. Was also not easy, because each time it was, poor thing, its insides were churned as the ocean was being churned, and it would hit the Devas, the tail, and a few of them, fadar, they would fall. What to talk of what was happening on the other side with the Asuras? The blessed thing would breathe and 5-6 of them would faint, and they had to dip a hanky in the ocean and revive the Asuras again and again repeatedly. And then this is how the churning progressed. And in the beginning, some things came out. All the ragadveshas of all the people came out, the Devas and the Asuras. And some, what is that? The wish fulfilling cow came, and then the Devas said, this is ours. Some other siddhi came, some kind of a thing. Asuras said, this is ours. White elephant came, not a figurative one, a literal white elephant came. And Indra said, hey, that's mine because I am the king of the gods. And then like this, lot of small things came, fanciful things that are in the fancy of the unconscious mind, which is as deep and as wide as what? The ocean. So the ocean is being churned. Goddess Lakshmi also came. And then what else came? Ashwin twins came. And then finally, Dhanvantari came with the pot. What is the pot? Amritam. the pot of immortality, the pot containing the nectar of immortality. But before that, something foul, something vile came. What was that? Hala hala, a poison so noxious that Vasuki, whose breath was making the asuras faint, himself fainted. Okay, that noxious. Poor Vasuki had to be revived with a hanky. Yes. Vasuki fainted, and then everybody, all the trees grew brown and then black and then grey and shriveled up and died. All of them were dying. The grass was scorched because of the noxious fumes of this most potent and ill-controlled hala hala poison that was assailing all the senses. Everybody was going to die. They prayed to who? Lord Shiva. In emergency, think of Lord Shiva. Okay, yeah. Why? Ashutosha. Easily pleased. To the point of being what? Bholenath. Gullible. Yes. Because even asuras can say, I have been your bhakta. It may be true also, because our asuras are not devils or evil or anything like that. What are they? Bhaktas gone wrong. That is what asuras are. Bhaktas, devotees with a hubris, is what we call demons. I have meditated upon you. Okay, what do you want? Tathastu. World domination. Tathastu. And then Vishnu has to come to the rescue. Here he goes again. Vishnu rolls his eyes. Vishnu is very upset. What have you done again? I can't keep you getting out of these scrapes. I can't keep you getting you out of this. You need to not do this anymore. Yeah, I forgot this time. Please help. And Vishnu has to usually don a transgendered Vesha, become Mohini, become something or the other, and then trick the Asura. And then this is what has to happen. And so here also all the beings who were dying of these noxious fumes, what did they do? They prayed to Lord Shiva. And then he took, by magic, he made the noxious fumes into a handful of liquid and swallowed it. And then the story goes, Parvati, the consort of Lord Shiva, put her hand at the throat where it was neutralized. That's why, but then a little blue, what is that, remnant, residue remained, making him be called the blue-throated Deva. Neelakantha, there is a Neelakant here. That is Neelakantha. Blue-throated Deva. And they say that is how the Adam's apple was born. Because and Parvati holding it means what? Not that she was scared he will die, because that which is the deathless one that can neutralize everything is cannot be subject to death. Parvati means non-separate from him. His own Shakti neutralized, first localized and neutralized this potent poison that threatened to just decimate humanity. And this happened in the evening. Evening is called dosha. Dosha is another, not the what you have for breakfast, dosa. No, that is different. This is dosha. And this dosha, it happened in the evening, and it was a special evening which redeemed all the beings from the clutches of these noxious fumes of what? The collective unconscious. The collective unconscious. One unconscious is unbearable. Oh my God, my anger. Oh my God, my raga, my dvesha, my pain, my jealousy, my sorrow, my fear. I can't handle. Imagine if everybody's unconscious were to come out all at once, the whole universe of people. Imagine what that would be like. That is why it is called as the most noxious poison the most killing poison. And since it was neutralized on that special evening, which was between the 12th and the 13th day of the moon, and that's why it is called Pradosha. And that evening becomes a magical evening where we go and pray, where we throng the temples and go and pray to be released from the hold of the unconscious mind. Just like you did that for the collective, do that for me, O Lord, so that I can progress in this knowledge, so that I can receive this knowledge without any impediments. Maham Brahma Nirakuryam. Do you see now why this prayer is so potent? May I not reject this knowledge. May I not reject the subject matter of this knowledge. What is the subject matter of this knowledge? Ishvara. Ishvara is the truth of myself. May I not reject. May I not feel Ishvara has rejected me because I felt my parents had rejected me. You see the connection here. So therefore, we pray during Pradosha to be given this freedom from the hold of the unconscious mind. May my limbs grow, may my sense organs grow in emotional maturity, so that the eyes do not see all the things that are impertinent, not at all impertinent to this quest of finding you as the truth of myself. May all my actions be in the service of knowledge, of this knowledge. May all my relationships, my partnerships, my friendships, and everything, all my connections serve to grow me up and give me emotional maturity to see that I am not lacking and I am one with you alone. And may there be no negation from any side. And that is why the Pradosha becomes an important praying time for a mumukshu jignasu, for the seeker of freedom, for the seeker of knowledge, for the seeker of oneness. This time becomes a beautiful time where the foothold of the unconscious is manageable. And this gives us clues of how to take care of this unconscious, because who else to give it? Who else can you give your inner child to babysit? Tell me. Oh, the significant other. The significant other will find your inner baby, cute for 1 or 2 months. That's called the honeymoon period. After that, what? What is cute becomes uncute very quickly. In the beginning, I love you just as you are. No, I have a lot of problems. I love all of your problems. And afterwards, first I love you, and then I allow you to be free of me. I think we need some space in the relationship. Nobody is going to babysit your inner child. Nobody. Everything, all our acting out is because of the inner child. The thrust to be seen in the limelight, the push to get ahead of everybody else, the envy, the jealousy, the anger, the pettiness, the need for love, the need for validation, the need to matter, the need to be complete, the need to hoard, which is greed. The avoidant issues where I don't want anybody because I'm afraid they will disappoint me, so I will not connect to anybody. No connection, no disappointment. This is the child's thinking, not the thinking of an adult. Living in this populated world, living in the world of people where every day transactions take place and you are already born related, you cannot say, I'm not going to relate to anybody. You can only say that, through knowledge. Even the jnani will not say, I refuse to relate to anybody. The jnani does not need to relate to anybody. That's the difference. And so, therefore, there is a long way to go. All these issues are because of the unconscious, and with a little bit of introspection, we can see how they impede our goals, whether the goals are quote unquote secular or quote unquote spiritual. There is no respite from them at all. So therefore, what to do with the unconscious mind? You can't give it to somebody else, as we have discussed. You have to take care of it. Oh, but I hate it. That's the problem. There is the first Dvaita is between the adult and the unconscious baby, the unconscious mind, which is a Parma child, a forever child. What is that called? The first split, the Dvaita is here. And this again is illustrated in the 8th chapter of this very Upanishad. What Upanishad is this? Chandogya Upanishad, where Indra and Virochana, they were in a assembly. Actually, Virochana was fighting with other asuras. Virochana, who is Virochana? The king of the demons, asuras. Asura king. What's his name? Virochana. Yeah, so Rochanam means shine. His mom thought he will achieve great things and named him Special Shine, Virochana. But we have to re-look at the Vyutpatti, the derivation of his name, because the prefix V also means from which something has departed. So, Vigatam Rochanam Yasmat, from whom all the luster has departed. This lackluster fellow, Virochana, the king, he managed to become king of what? Asuras. King of all the demons. He was fighting outside, doing something, and then inside the hall, there was a lecture by Prajapati. Prajapati, who is Prajapati? Devaguru, Prajapati. And then the Brahmaji, like that. So Prajapati, he said a few things. Atma, apahata papma. And then he said that it is ajavijaraha, apahata papma, not subject to papa. Not subject to papa punya, not subject to bad karma or its results thereof. Good karma we don't worry about because we don't mind the results. They'll be comfortable and nice. So only bad karma, papa, is talked about. Not subject to bad karma. Apahata papma. It looks like Prajapati was a poet. Atma apahata papma. Rhyming, you see. Vijaraha. Not subject to age. Vimrityuhu. Akshut pipasaha. Not subject to hunger and thirst. Not subject to so many things. And then Nityam, Shashvatam, all this was said. It made a big impact on the Devas. The Devas said, we have to go to his ashram. This guru we must not leave. We have to go. This was just a guest lecture. We have to go there and gain this knowledge. We absolutely have to do that. And then Virochana outside had caught another fellow by the scruff of the neck and was about to biff him. And he stopped mid-sentence because he also heard what? Atma apahata papma. And he let that asura go and he said, wow, this knowledge I want. Why? Because then I can continue to biff everybody and have no consequences at all. No papa. Because what am I? Free of papa. No guilt, no hurt, no papa. I also want this knowledge because then easily I can overpower everybody and get what? World domination. It's so boring a goal. I don't know why all the asuras want what? World domination. Very boring. Then what happened? Then it says that an Virochana is not given even one line in the Upanishad. The Upanishad does not want to ratify the speech of an Asura and sully its pages with this kind of a talk. Virochana is always referred to in the third person, just like in the Bhagavad Gita, there is what? Dhritarashtra uvacha, Sanjaya uvacha, Arjuna uvacha, Shri Bhagavan uvacha, Duryodhana uvacha. Never. Yeah. Raja vachanam abravit. Third person, not never first person for all these baddies. The Upanishad protects itself and us from giving these kinds of people airtime. No, not necessary, not possible, not desirable. And so Virochana also goes along. Indra is appointed by all the people. The Devas say we all have many things to do, many people to take care of. That is our duty. Lord Yama says, I cannot take off really because because who will take care of all these people who need to go? Who will manage the warehouse of departed souls? So you be the one who goes. They appointed Indra. And then, of course, among the Asuras, Virochana appointed himself. Because there is no cooperation. Each one to himself. Virochana appoints himself, and then they trot off to go study Brahma Vidya. There is no Purushartha Nishchaya. They have just heard one lecture, Atma Apahata Papma. They don't even know where the ashram is, and they have to find it. And then they come to through different ways and meet there. They meet there, they don't even know where to go. And having reached the ashram, they don't know that they have to ask for this knowledge. For 30 to 33 years, they stay there, eating the food, sleeping there, and then just going about the day, not stating the purpose for which they have come. And then Prajapati sees for a long time, then he can't handle it, he can't stand it. He himself goes to them and says, Gentlemen, what for are you here? Why have you come? Oh, that, small details. Okay. And only Indra speaks. What does Indra say? Indra says, you know what? Long time ago, 33 years ago, I heard you say, Atma apahata papma. And Virochana doesn't say anything. Whatever Indra does, he nods his head. Whenever Indra puts his head on the feet of Prajapati, he also does namaskara, but there is no talk from him. He is just a silent witness to the whole show. Prajapati takes one look at Virochana, says, thinks to himself, bad news. No teaching can happen. No teaching can happen. And then, oh, gentlemen, you want to see the Atma? Yes, we want to see the Atma. Claps his hand, and two paricharakas, sevaks, what do? They bring a big vat of water. And that is put in the middle. Gentlemen, behold the Atma. Oh, really? The Atma is in the water? What do they see? Their own reflection. Indra says, not bad. Even though the whites that I've been wearing for 33 years have become grey and dull, but still you're looking at a very handsome fellow. The Atma is a very handsome fellow. Look, he twirls his mustache and says, I should do a little more yoga, but not bad, not bad. Virochana also goes and says, Ahaha, what? Hello, good morning, good looking. How are you? How wonderful you look. You are so great. You are so fantastic. He too looks. And he also wishes he had some hair gel to make the hair stand up and go on this side when naturally it falls this side. So somehow to make it stand like that. And some mustache gel to make it what? Handlebar mustache. Meaning you should be able to open a door with that mustache. And then what? They both say, are you satisfied? Yes, we are satisfied. Thank you. Both of them depart the ashram. Prajapati looks on with sadness and says, look at them go. Not having gained the Atma in full. Not having gained the truth of the Atma in full. Look at them depart. Look at them go. And anyone who teaches what they supposedly learned here, what did they learn? Body is Atma. Anyone who teaches that teaching parampara will not live. He makes an ominous prophecy that any parampara, any lineage that teaches the body is Atma will not live. Then what happened? This one Virochana went away and started one ashram. What was its name? Ācāryavān Gurukulam. Started an ashram where what? Only massage tables. Because body is Atma. Massage tables, what do they put? Mud bath, face pack, and all kinds of various things. Nothing wrong with that. But if you think that is the way to moksha, how many massages if I have many massages, I am closer and closer to moksha. This is their thinking. Dehatma buddhi because of that. Virochana gone. This one is a little cleverer, more sattvic, and cannot be fooled easily. Which one? Indra. Our Indra goes halfway and says, wait a minute. If there is he sees a lake and he looks at his face, and then there's a windy day, there are ripples in the water, and his face is all distorted. He says, oh, wait a minute, Atma is Sanatana, Nityaha. It is free from vikara, free from modifications, free from change. What is happening over here? This cannot be Atma. I have been fooled. I have to go back. Did Prajapati fool them? No. Because in the beginning you say body is of course nothing but Brahman. That's how the Taittiriya Upanishad also begins, but that's not the whole story. If you just listen to that portion and go, who is it on? That's on you. That's not on the teacher. Prajapati was not fooling them. He wanted to take them from the grossest to the subtlest. Body is of course Atma, but Atma is not just the body. Atma is much more than the body. This is what he wanted to tell, but because of their rajasic nature and the restlessness, they both departed. Because of tamas and rajas, no patience, no titiksha. They both left, thinking that they had the whole when they had just a piece, a sliver of the teaching. Since this teaching cannot be made into slivers, it is the whole. Therefore, when you just go off with what you think is a piece of it, it does more disservice than giving liberation. Indra comes back. He says, no, I think this is wrong. He comes back and then he says, I need to study further, because I don't think I have all of it. Prajapati says, okay. When is the next class? 4 o'clock? No, after 33 years. What? I've come all the way back to the ashram. I have to wait for 33 years? Yes, my dear sir, you have to wait for 33 years. 33 years later, one class takes place. What is that class? Om Sahana Vavatu, etc., etc. Apyayantu Mamangani. Chandogya Upanishad. Okay? Yeah. 8th chapter, etc., etc. The opening prayer and the closing prayers are longer than the class. It's a monosyllabic class. What does he say? What? I wrote it down. What does this mean? When is satsang? Tonight at 8? No. When? Guess. After 33 years. Anybody would have run away. Indra stays. 33 plus 33 plus 33. How many years? 99 years. This is Devaloka. Okay, the age is, don't think of him with a stick and white hair and on the deathbed with a ivy on the permanently on the hand. Yeah. This is Devaloka. Time is different there. So 99 years later, he's given more and more teachings, and then afterwards he's told to stay for 6 more years. Total how many years? 105 years. It took Indra to gain this knowledge. This is not meant as a downer. If Indra took 105 Deva years, I have no hope. That is not the idea. Let me not attend any more classes because there is no hope for this. No. It is to show that someone with the stature of Indra, who didn't need anything, who had everything that it took, who had everything, still had so much what? So much Shraddha for the knowledge that he put everything on hold and studied for 105 years. Therefore, I should do the same until the knowledge takes place. That is the idea. So, who is Virochana? Inner child. Till the inner child leaves, no teaching can take place. Even if it takes place, what? It will not be effective. It will enter the mind, it will be rejected, it will be kicked from the ears by the inner child, it will boomerang back to the teacher. Therefore, all the knowledge is safe with all the teachers. That is how it is. Now, let's go back to the other story, because now the Hala Hala was conquered thanks to who? Lord Shiva. The pot of nectar came and the asuras licked their lips. Now I'm going to be indomitable. Now I'm going to have what? Exactly, world domination. And then they also sat down to be served this nectar. And then again, Shiva said, oh, let's give them, poor things. They worked so hard. They were, after all, at the head of Vasuki. Vishnu glares at him. Are you out of your mind? They cannot have this nectar. And Vishnu says, here I go again. And went into this transgendered avatara. Beautiful damsel. What was her name? Mohini. Literally meaning she who deludes. And she was wearing all noisemakers, chan, 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 bangles, bracelets, anklets, every let she had. And then, come along, boys. I have the nectar. She held a bucket and walked away. Who wants to eat with the devas anyway? We'll go to our own tent. And there the nectar, which is what? A placebo. Just kheer from this bhandara right happening outside. That is what was served to them. And all the asuras, because she was so enchanting and she had a wonderful fragrance and then she was so beautiful and all pleasant noises, pleasant voice, she was humming along as she walked, they all followed, except for one. And he said, wait a minute, the devas have tricked us before. This can't be the first time. Devas have tricked us before. Let me just hang here and see what to do. So he dressed himself as a deva and with great difficulty schooled his face into a benign expression, hid his canines, and then kept quiet, sitting there quietly. Mohini went, misled them, came back into the Deva's tent. Everybody was drinking, it was being served, and it was served to this fellow also. And he sipped it, took one drop. One drop is enough, okay? You don't need a whole lot. With all these kinds of this nectar of immortality, etc., one drop is enough. Even with the teaching, because the nectar of immortality is the upalakshana for the teaching. One Mahavakya is enough. One Upanishad is enough. One time teaching is enough. If the asura has not snuck into the tent, that is the meaning of this. So what did this asura do? Sipped the nectar. Vishnu saw that. He was back in his own form. And then he said, oh my God, what's happening? This is an asura. Sent the disc, decapitated this fellow. First, and since it was immortal, he had already sipped the what? Nectar of immortality. Now, instead of one, you had to deal with who? Ayyo. The head represents ahankara, hoarding, wanting, domination, wanting to matter, all the ambitions means ambitions gone wild. And the tail represents vairagya. Tail represents feeling unwanted. Both of them have to do with the unconscious mind. Ketu has vairagya not because of some viveka. Ketu has vairagya because he feels who will want a piece of tail? Nobody. That kind of vairagya. And off they went into the firmament, joined the planets, and they too became planets. Wait a minute, they became planets, shadow planets, as though mithya. Beautiful allegory. This is such a beautiful story to understand in the light of Tattvamasi. What are they? Mithya. Rahu and Ketu represent the ever-present danger of not taming the unconscious mind. And they represent the fact that it is Ishvara Srishti, not Jiva Srishti. It is here to stay. It is part of Ishvara's creation. And what does Rahu and Ketu, what do they do twice a year? Cover the sun, cover the moon. Cover the sun? As though. Very good. Cover the moon? As though. Cover the Atma? As though. Cover the knowledge? As though. Cannot cover anything, but as though cover. Rahugrasta divakarendu sadrisho maya samachhadanat sanmatra karanopasamharanato yo bhut sushuptah puman. Just like the Rahugrasta, caught by Rahu, the sun is said to be eclipsed, the moon is said to be eclipsed. Similarly, this person who is what? Anadi avidya nidra suptaha, the one sleeping the sleep of ajnanam and waking up to the nightmare of this inner child, anyatha jnanam, and the wrong decisions it makes and the miserable life that it conjures up, that is the person who is taught. That is the person who is taught. Rahu is a shadow, as though shadow cannot really cover the self-effulgent I, but it as though covers, therefore what? It as though has to be taken care of through the going to the as though Gurukulam, by approaching an as though teacher, and by reminting oneself as an as though student and gaining as though knowledge. It's as though, as though, as though, as though, all the way. But then this story also has a little piece there, trivia. It's not really essential, but it's kind of fun. When the decapitation took place, blood was shed. Whose blood? Asura blood. And then some strange plants grew, nurtured by this blood. What was that? Garlic. Yes, that's why we don't eat garlic. If you want to be a momokshu and a jignasu, say bye-bye to garlic bread. Okay, you can have bread. Okay, so why? Because the garlic, supposedly, what does it do? It brings out Rahu, like the inner Rahu gets excited because you are feeding the inner Rahu with his own blood. So the inner Rahu gets bloodthirsty, and then the eclipse keeps on coming more than twice a year. This personal eclipse, and keeps on coming and breaking the chance, putting obstacles in the way of one's quest. This is why the inner Rahu has to be tamed. Rahu is not a bad fellow. Rahu is just someone who didn't get attention as a child. That's all it is. This Rahu, this Ketu, the Ketu says, I can't have it, so I don't want it. And Rahu who says, I want it all, gimme, gimme, gimme. And in the personal horoscope, in one's individual horoscope, Rahu and Ketu are at 180 degrees. Rahu in first house, Ketu will be where? 7th house. Rahu in 2nd house, Ketu in 8th house. They will be opposite to one another because they are opposite to one another. Ketu will be pulling you towards the ashram, towards moksha, towards vairagya, making you see the futility of things. Rahu will say, shut up, don't listen to him, come with me. You can't have world domination, I'll give you ashram domination, come. I will let you call the shots in the ashram. You can go around, what should I say, throwing your weight around, Rahu will say. You can tell people what to do, hey, what are you doing? Pick this up. Why did you think? You think it's your father's house? What are you doing? Get up. This is Rahu. And so this inner split, which is in the firmament, which is the upalakshana for that duality between the adult who wants teaching and the inner child who wants what? A hug. This is what it is. Pujya Swamiji was very skilled in doing both at the same time. He could give a hug to the inner child and the teaching at the same time. He could have a little toy, a rattle. Why? For the rattled inner child. A rattle to pacify the inner child, and with one hand, and he would teach with the book of the Veda in the other hand. We are not that skilled. So, nobody could do it like he did. Nobody could do this at all. And he would, if anybody had an outburst right in front of him, he would be very quiet, listen to the outburst, and he would say, oh, is that the unconscious coming out? That's all he would say. He would not explain himself, he would not go into anything. And then the person would just be quiet. What? Unconscious where? What is unconscious where? Then they had to go do their own homework and their own resolution. It was just beautiful. It was just beautiful. Learning this, he was, after all the ancient acharyas like Gaudapada Acharya highlighted all this which was already there in the Upanishad and the Bhagavad Gita, he was the first one to modernize Vedanta in the light of this modern psychology and make it relevant to all of us from the standpoint of Raga Dvesha management, from the standpoint of growing up, integrating the inner child. And that is exactly what one has to do. First, give these are practical tips, okay? How to take care of this inner child so that I am ready for Tattvamasi. So that I am ready for that. I have to make myself ready for that. How to take care of this inner child? First thing, understand that it cannot be rejected. Even though I want to reject it, I hate it, I cannot look at it, it cannot be rejected. And so, practical tip, look at your baby pictures with all the knowledge that you have received in this session and in this and previous sessions. Re-look at your baby picture and see that this small, beautiful, perfect, infallible, vulnerable, and defenseless child is one with Ishvara. Nothing wrong with this child. And see if you can look at this baby in the photograph, an old photograph. If you don't have, ask somebody to send it to you. And then look at this baby with a lot of love, with a lot of devotion and love. That itself is a perfect sadhana for this integration. You as the adult have to do that. You can't expect somebody else to love your inner child. You as the adult have to do that. So that is exercise number 1. Exercise number 2, give all the manifestations of the inner child in the form of stubbornness, rejection, pain, sorrow, fear to Ishvara. Tell Ishvara the inner child was created by who? You. Take it back. At least babysit it for me because I can't handle it. Take it back. This is what humanity did by praying to Lord Shiva on the original Pradosha day. You can do it every single day. Take it back. I'm having an inner child attack. Recognize that this is an inner child attack. In the beginning, you will recognize after it attacks. And then with practice, you will recognize as it attacks. You say, oh, here I go. Here it comes. And then again, with more practice, with more sadhana, you will recognize it when? Before it attacks. That is where we want to be. And then point number 3, you have to gain the trust of this inner child. The inner child trusts nobody. The trust of the mother and the father was dropped. Why? Because the baby itself was dropped. Mother was carrying it down the stairs and suddenly she heard a noise. Boing, boing, boing. It was the child also going down the stairs. Survived all right, no problem, but had this feeling of insecurity. This is a real story. One 70-year-old man had chronic headaches. Every single doctor he had seen was just not going. I shared this with Puruṣo Swamiji. I said, I have one student who has chronic headache. Swamiji, what should I do? Oh, why? Take him to this doctor in Florida, Swamiji told me. He was also from Florida, this man with the headaches. 70 years old. Since childhood he had this headache. They said it's not a migraine, it's not anything, it's not whatever. And then there was very skilled doctor. He was one of those old-fashioned ones. And then he would take your nadi. What is that called? Pulse. It's not really pulse. It's a reading of the meridians, the invisible meridians. He could read, and he read the pulse. And he said to the gentleman in a kind voice. I also went for the consultation. He said, I've never been to any Ayurvedic doctor. You please come with me. So I went. And then he said, were you by chance dropped when you were a baby? And this 70-year-old man burst into tears right then and there. Indeed, he had been told that he had been dropped a flight of stairs, and then all that was done was given one small dropper bottle of some medicated oil. 10 drops he had to apply for 10 days. On the 11th day, the headache left forever. This is, amazing. This is all the power of this unconscious. So that trust that was lost with regard to the local mother and father has to be reconstructed by trusting Ishvara as the mother and the father of the universe, by daring to trust again. You cannot trust another person, not completely and entirely. Therefore, you put the trust in what? That which is infallible. Don't say Ishvara is infallible, that's a setup. What do you say? That which is infallible, that which cannot be altered is Ishvara. That which cannot be altered is what? One's own past, one's own issues, one's own core issues, one's own pains, one's own sorrows. That which cannot be altered is Ishvara. One's own background cannot be altered, it is Ishvara. One's own parentage cannot be altered, it is Ishvara. That is why the prayer of maturity says in the Taittiriya Upanishad, Matra Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava. It's a blessing. It's not that see mother as God. No, be the one who has recognized that the mother is just a manifestation of Bhagavan in your life. Be the one who has recognized unto whom the father is just a manifestation of Bhagavan. Even if it was the most abusive set of parents, I have made peace with my parentage. This is important for Vedanta. This cannot happen without Ishvara's help. Because this is where the pain is. This is where the sorrow is. This is where the alienation is. The Mahavakya is not an equation between Jiva and Brahman. No. Mahavakya is Jiveshwarayoho Aikyam. Oneness between Ishvara and the hapless, hopeless, helpless individual. More we'll see tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.